Dead meme.
Hey everyone, welcome back to HorizonXI. Basically, if you're not aware, it's a private server for Final Fantasy 11. And I'm going to do a video for the introduction to party tactics, like how you might want to form a party, especially in the lower levels. We're going to discuss like the tactics and the roles that jobs typically take on. So I'm just going to start in the back row because it's pretty obvious what we're seeing here. We have 3 mages in the back. We have a black mage. We have the red mage on the far right there. Me, I'm playing the healer role. So as you can see, I'm resting, and I know that seems counterintuitive while a battle is going on. So I'm just going to jump right into white mage and explain what I'm doing and why. My goal is to reduce the downtime of the party, not only keep you alive. If I throw inefficient cures, like I could throw a cure 2 right now and totally heal him, but that would be very mana inefficient. So my goal not only is to keep you alive, but to reduce the downtime of the party. And I do this by not spamming expensive cures or unnecessary debuff removers and things like that. And if I do not spam very large cures, it's easier for the melee characters to maintain control of the mob. So we're going to get into the other 2 mages that are hanging out here. I'm going to talk about the red mage. Red mage's primary job, at least for what they get selected for, is to do what's called enfeebling. They make the enemy easier to defeat by making it blind or reducing its defense, things like that. So that's their goal, is to make the monster easy to defeat. But at the same time, red mages have access to black magic and white magic. So it is not uncommon to have a red mage perform some of these roles primarily in a battle. It's not set in stone. So a good red mage will help the white mage when necessary, will enfeeble, and also DPS them when it's appropriate. So our other character there primarily is a damage dealer, which is our black mage there. Their primary role is to target the mob, inflict damage pretty much as possible. They do have a few debuffs and stuff, but that's more of an advanced thing. You're not going to see much of that in the level 10 points of the game. Like, it's not like you're not going to have shock and all those other attribute draining spells at this point. So in the beginning, since this is a level 11 party, it's a black mage, your job is to be up to date with your black magic, to participate in a magic burst if it's available. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll probably make another video on my black mage to show how that's done. But black mage, target the enemy, inflict damage, participate in magic bursts if available. Now let's move on to what's going on up front there. I would like to get a bit closer to show it to you, but this enemy here does an AoE sleep, and that could potentially spell disaster for the party. So it's not a good idea for your mages, the people who are going to wake you up when you get slept, to also be sleeping. So I'm just going to describe what's going on there. We have one character up there, the one I've got targeted, is the tank. Their role is to be as durable as possible and to hold the threat of the monster. So you're going to, if you're playing a tank, which is typically done by a warrior or a paladin, there's a few other jobs. Your job is to get your defense up pretty high. You need to be durable in order to protect your party. You will also need to understand threat management. So basically, you're going to drop an ability called Provoke that holds the monster, prevents it from roaming around it and damaging your softer teammates. The other character up there, let's see if I can kind of target her. This character is a puller. It's a thief. The puller's role is to go leave the party from the encampment, which what we're doing now is we're sitting in one place. It's referred to as camping. Their job is to leave the safety of the group to go find an appropriate target for the party to fight. Now, why I'm saying appropriate is because, for example, if we went and pulled a goblin right now, this party would probably get annihilated by the goblins that live here. So it's the puller's job to get the appropriate monster for us to fight. And pullers face the threat of aggro. So, for example, some enemies detect by sound, some detect by sight. So if you run behind a goblin because they detect by sight, you'll be okay. But it's a risky move. It may not be worth it. Another thing to keep in mind is blood aggro. When a character is at yellow health or less, which you can see in the bottom right, our tank currently sits at yellow health, that means undead will attack you. So if you're a puller outside near undead with yellow health, you are about to cause a problem. Undead are an enormous problem, so you have to be very cognizant of them because they will definitely ruin your day. Now, I don't know how much of that you saw, but the teammates up front, between the tank, the thief, and the other warrior, performed what is called a skill chain, and they perform liquefaction. So what has occurred is there are TP consuming moves, like Fast Blade is an example, or Red Lotus Blade or Tachi NP are examples of TP consuming moves. When one TP consuming move, such as Burning Blade, is performed. When Burning Blade is performed, within 2 to 5 seconds roughly, give or take, due to lag and ping, if another character follows up with Fast Blade, you'll get an additional effect called liquefaction. And that, I believe, is liquefaction. And that will cause additional damage to the enemy, and it'll leave them open to an attack from the Black Mage to do additional damage, known as a Magic Burst. Now, our Black Mage is very new. We're actually teaching her, like, targeting macros and stuff, so I don't think I'm going to get the opportunity to show a Magic Burst in this video. So in the end, when I get on another character, when I get on my other job, I've got a high level Black Mage. When I level it, maybe I'll do a video on skill chains and Magic Bursts, because in the higher levels, it's exceptionally important. Like, Magic Burst pretty much makes or breaks certain camps. So I think I've kind of rambled a bit there. We're getting a bit off topic. I think we're just going to kind of review everything we've sort of talked about. When you build an XP party, you want to basically find a group of 6 people who are appropriate for the mob you're fighting. So, for example, this monster is not particularly threatening, but you want to have your mages and stuff far away. You want people who can cast Cure to wake up your teammates. So that's an idea of pre-planning. Other examples is, say, if you're fighting slimes, pierce damage. Bring lots of pierce damage, because pierce damage does well against slimes. And same with damselflies is another one that you'll encounter a lot. So you formed your party of 6. You've made a selection. You don't need to have all 3 mages, but it's nice. Your white mage heals primarily, keeps the party alive. The goal of the white mage is to reduce the amount of downtime the characters in the party experience due to loss of health. So do not spam cures that are wasteful, and rest when you're not needed in order to minimize the downtime. You're taking the downtime of the team because you're resting to heal them, so they never have to rest. So you're speeding up the process. Your red mage's job, primarily, is to enfeeble. Most parties, that's what they get used for. Red mages are a jack of all trades. They can play the role of a healer or a DPSer. So they're a nice asset to have around. And within the latest updates or the changes made to this game, red mage is very viable, very good class. Our black mage they're not as flexible. Their primary job is to inflict damage on the primary target at this level in the game. That's what they do. And they participate in skill chains. They perform what is known as a magic burst. I'll show that in another video. Melee fighters typically consist of your puller, some sort of assistant DPS sometimes, depending on your formation. And no, they blew it. They didn't pull off their... oh, there we go. That is a skill chain. And if we're really lucky... No, she didn't cast the right spell, so she doesn't know yet. So the tank controls the monster. High defense, high evasion, lots of hit points. Be as sturdy as possible. Have provoke available to you to hold the monster, to keep it from damaging your other characters in the party who aren't as tough. You'll also have a puller, which will 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, play a melee role. Their job is to find appropriate monsters for the party to fight. And basically, they understand what to go and pull. Pulling is probably should get a video all on its own. When I play Bard, I'll show that. So, puller goes and collects appropriate monsters to fight. They should understand the area because they can pull threat of, say, something of like a goblin, which would wipe this party out. So they need to understand how to avoid encountering enemies that are going to end the party. And for the most part, melee DPS is the same general idea. That other warrior up there is playing a role of a DPS and pseudo tank. They assist all the other DPS players in reducing the mob's HP to 0 as quickly as possible. So hopefully that is helpful. It's a simple introduction to a level 10 through 18 party, I think would be an appropriate estimate. And that, with that said, hopefully if you liked the video or you found it helpful, you want to send a like or sub to me, or maybe there's some stuff that I didn't talk about, or maybe that should be mentioned, just throw it in the comments. But again, thanks for showing up, and I'll see you all again real soon.